Tell me a little bit more about your experience this summer, what you did and what you enjoyed about it.
So I worked on the global marketing team, brand marketing for Special K, and I did a project with Frosted Mini Wheats and All Brand. So those are the three big projects that I worked on. With Special K, my main project, it was a global pricing analysis. So marketing, you've got a lot of data that you have to go through. It's not all positioning awesomeness. Although I did have one project, my Frosted Mini Wheats project was positioning awesomeness. But so for Special K, there are some key markets where there were some share issues. I had to dig into the competitive landscape. Where do we have directly positioned competitors? Where didn't we? What are the differences in those markets? And how is that affecting our share? Look at the difference between the margins, our trade promotion. So how much are we promoting the product? 2 for $5 versus 1 box for $2.89. And how does that affect the equity of the brand? If you're promoting a product a lot, all of a sudden that value proposition starts to change the mind of consumers. So understanding how that affected our pricing power in the future and looking at that strategic thought going over the next 2 years, it was really intriguing to see the difference in the market. So working global marketing, I was working in 6 big markets. So it's fun to compare on a global scale, the brand power that you can create. Now with Frosted Mini Wheats, it was more, I don't know if you're familiar, I'm sure everyone's familiar with Frosted Mini Wheats, but the positioning changed where before the product was positioned, I think 04, 05, and the last 20 years, was more of a tasty fiber, tasty health. It's like, hey, it's tasty on this side. Oh, it's healthy on this side. I don't know if you remember those commercials back in the '90s, but they changed it to position the product for school success. So if a child is able to eat and remain full, they can focus better in school. Clinically, it's been this is proven scientifically. So and so looking at this Frosted Mini Wheats has an ownership in fiber to keep children fuller, probably the best out of any cereal there is, because it's just so fiber intensive. So you talk about functional attributes that we can own, Frosted Mini Wheats has got it. And we wanted to, so the brand's been playing in that space for the last 3 years, and I was looking at what have been the key drivers to that success of the repositioning. So saying for the moms, we started to communicate to moms over the last 3 years saying, Frosted Mini Wheats helps set your child up to do better in school, not because it makes them smarter, because it helps you prepare your child better. So communicating to moms the benefit of, you're losing some control as you send your child out to school. It causes angst, but the product can help relieve some of that pain, because I gave them the best cereal I can to keep them fuller longer, so they can do better in school. And that's just driven some amazing performance in the brand. So I was looking at what were the drivers in that, and how could we things to keep in mind if we were able to roll that out among other brands, or just looking at playing in that space, that mom consumer territory. So a lot of varying things, but I think CPG, the brand managers really help drive the bus in a lot of companies. And so you get to work cross-functionally with all those teams saying, okay, this is where we want to take the brand. Can we perform on those functional attributes? Can we really deliver on satiety or hunger management? How do we communicate this benefit? How do we have legal compliance? A scientific proof. Third-party research is preferable. All those things that just kind of converge in the brand world. And I got a snapshot of that over the summer. It was a blast.
It sounds like a terrific convergence of your skill set and the things that they were looking for in an intern or a future employee.
Yeah. Well, and I framed my experience to hopefully paint that picture. So I'm glad I'm glad it came across. But I think everyone has experiences that you could really frame in a lot of different ways, and that's what marketing is. What benefits do you need? And I will position those things that I can really deliver on to fit those needs. So whatever position it was, I think there are a few things that directions I could go, but the story would be tweaked in a marketing kind of way.
Sure. Let's talk about that for a second. You are obviously very passionate about your career path and track or space within marketing, CPG.
Right.
What's the best advice you could give an MBA who is trying to figure out what direction they should go? How did you get to where you are, and what do you recommend they do to find their niche within marketing?
I think you have to ask, where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in 15, 20 years? And for me, the general management, running a company, either a small business or even at a corporate level if I can. I mean, who knows? It's hard to look that far out, but ultimately I wanted to gain the skills that would put me in that position. And I thought brand management helped do that. You get that cross-functionality. You own the P&L, the profit and loss statement. So it's on your shoulders if the brand starts to tank. Hey, what are you going to do about it? This is your thing. Make sure you get this going. And I thought it was that perspective of, this is where I want to be, and I think brand management helps get me there. Now, could that change along the way? Sure. I could definitely see myself staying in a company for the next 30 years. But learning that skill set and getting those tools in my toolbox was the most important thing. And I thought that's what, knowing, okay, what tools do I need and where do I want to go? All right, now let me retrofit what positions I should take in my internship and post-MBA that get me there. Mm-hmm. And if you do it the other way around, I think you're taking a big gamble, and you'll probably end up missing a lot of big opportunities.